There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but do not fret. The armchair general of Counter-Strike is here to kiss it and make it better. Greetings, TheWarOwl greets you. There's a lot to cover, so we're just diving in head first, baby. A lot of people have been asking me my thoughts about the big crouch jump exploit. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, during the Krakov PGL Major, a number of players were abusing a perspective exploit that seemingly gave them an unfair advantage. Most notably, players on Big, the German underdog team that surprisingly defeated FaZe and SK Gaming, the two top-rated teams in the world, during the group stages.
What is the crouch jump exploit? First, the player crouches, then jumps while crouched. After reaching a certain elevation, they release crouch. This allows them to see over objects without their view model popping above the object. Basically, it allows players to peek specific positions without being seen by the other team. It's incredibly useful and blatantly not cool.
In my opinion, this is an exploit and it should be patched as soon as possible and fixed and removed from the game so that this does not happen again. Knowing my timing, it probably already has been patched and removed from the game as I'm posting this video. This is how things go here on the TheWarOwl channel. Now, I've done a little bit of research, I've looked into some things. I actually do not believe that it violated the rules of the tournament. I may be wrong about that, but I do not think it violated any rules, so you can't really go after any of the players or the teams for using something like this. It's just unfortunate that it was in the game in the first place, and of course, since it's not against the rules, it becomes a matter of integrity. I think it's a matter of integrity when you find exploits to report them to Valve, to make them as public as possible so that they can be patched, so that they can be fixed, and everybody's playing on an even playing field. I don't think that happened in this case. It's unfortunate. However, once this big controversy did start happening, the teams did come to kind of a gentleman's agreement not to use the exploit. So that did show a good deal of sportsmanship and integrity.
But TheWarOwl, weren't you very vocal about the Fnatic overpass boost? Doesn't that make you a big fat hypocrite?
Well, first of all, I'm not that fat anymore. Disembodied voice of the YouTube comments, and secondly, the Boostgate controversy was a little bit different, and I think we should make the distinction very clear. Boostgate, or the Olaf Boost, refers to a 3-person pixel walk boost used by Fnatic on Overpass against LDLC at the DreamHack 2014 Major, which Fnatic kept secret, using it as a Day Zero exploit to win a very important match. The controversy comes over whether or not the boost broke the rules of the tournament. There was a lot of confusion about the official rules of the tournament. Some teams didn't receive them and the rules weren't made public. I just assumed when watching it that it was against the rules because it was a pixel walk. Pixel walking is against the rules of most tournaments, but oddly, it was not against the rules of this tournament. Interestingly, the boost was found to be against the rules for a completely different reason. The rules did not allow boosting to locations where you can see through one-way walls. Though it actually wasn't used, you could see through a one-way wall using the Olaf Boost. The difference with the crouch jump exploit is that it was not against the rules. So I think the question then becomes, where do we draw the line between a respectable Machiavellian desire to win and taking an unfair advantage? I would like to know your thoughts about this inside of the YouTube comments. I know that our audience in particular has very well-reasoned and well-thought-out arguments for the YouTube comments section, so I'm looking forward to reading those. In my opinion, I think people were right to get upset about it and point it out, and I'm glad it got resolved in a sense, and it didn't escalate or anything like that. However, I do feel that some of it was completely overblown. I think a lot of the nasty criticism and stuff towards specific teams and players comes from fans of specific teams and players who they felt were slighted by the use of this glitch.
The PGL Krakov Major was the rise of the underdogs, with Big, Gambit, Immortals all giving an impressive showing. You know something is going to skew when the grand finals is between the second best Brazilian team and the second best CIS region team.
There were major concerns about the production value of the PGL Major. Technical delays are just expected in Counter-Strike Global Offensive at this point. It happens. However, to the level that they happened, things happening with players' equipment, the computers not working, lots of FPS drops, just stuff all over the board not working and causing these massive delays. Even the stream went down and we weren't able to watch Big versus Cloud9. It was ridiculous, and it really was unacceptable for a Valve-funded major tournament when you have a ton of eyes on the scene, you have a bunch of people getting into Counter-Strike. It shouldn't have happened. It got to the point where in Big versus Immortals, one of the most emotionally charged matches that I've ever seen in the history of Counter-Strike, they reached a time limit because of how many delays that there have been, where PGL had to kick everybody out of the arena. So Game 3 of this epic series took place in an empty, darkened arena in the middle of the night. I mean, it added to the drama factor, I will give you that, but it was just kind of silly, and I feel bad for everybody who went to the tournament, who wanted to watch that match, and couldn't. PGL has been hyped for innovating the production value of Counter-Strike tournaments. I was really looking forward to seeing what they could bring to the table for a stage this big. They have, the goofy camera angle. I actually don't like that. I don't like the zoomy cameras. I guess that's a personal thing. Look, it's Counter-Strike. It's all about clean angles and shooting and good movement and stuff. We don't need loop-de-loops. We don't need the camera to loop-de-loop. Anyway, they have really great infographics. They have a great UI. PGL has always done a great job. It was disappointing. I was disappointed, and I'm still upset about it. I'm a little salty. The knife kill to win the first game on Cobblestone was one of the funniest things I've ever seen inside of Pro Counter-Strike. It was such BM, and I loved every second of it. I love to watch the true passion for the game and competition that these players have. However, some people and some viewers thought it crossed a line when the player Henny on Immortals smashed his mousepad in anger, hitting his mouse and breaking the right mouse button, and caused a delay till they could get another mouse. This was, of course, after the knife had happened on the next map. Also, the Immortals players were constantly jumping up and gesturing to the other team and yelling things at them and stuff like that. Honestly, I think that kind of stuff only really reflects poorly on the person doing it. I don't think there's a cause for anybody to get upset over it. Except if it involves threats, physical intimidation, or actually putting hands on another person, which the only time I've ever actually heard of that happening was when Richard Lewis strangled that guy. I shouldn't be laughing about that, but it's, oh man, I don't know. People overblow this stuff a lot. Again, I think these are just fans getting upset about it. Just enjoy the show, guys, for crying out loud.
And finally, the reason you clicked on this video, ESL has announced that people involved in the 2014 match-fixing scandal have had their bans lifted at ESL events. I'm sure toxic 12-year-olds all across this fruited plain have rejoiced. Of course, they're 15 now, it's been a while. Match fixing is when players lose on purpose for financial gain. In this particular instance, they had someone else bet skins against their team on a game that they were likely to win, and then they lost on purpose. They didn't confess, they got caught, thanks to the stellar investigative journalism of the aforementioned Richard Lewis. I know I cracked a joke at his expense, but I really respect the guy. This has happened in the past in other esports and traditional sports, and it's not uncommon for people to face criminal prosecution. It's universally understood that this practice constitutes a permanent ban from competition. In fact, Valve Software has said they will not work with anybody who does this, so these players still will not be able to attend a major event.
OJ Simpson is out of prison, the IBuyPower guys are unbanned, and Phantom Lord is back. It's like the inmates broke out of Arkham Asylum, and now the whole rogue gallery is out there roaming the streets looking for trouble.
And then I made dumb jokes for the next 3 minutes, which I know is not why you came to this video, so I'm editing this part in after the fact. After I tore everything down and was editing the footage, I realized that I really owe it to you guys to tell you my personal, honest, open opinion about the unbans. And I can't really say this without getting a lot of you guys upset with me, but I'm just going to tell you my personal opinion. Beyond just shooting somebody on the stage, I think taking a dive for money is the worst thing that you can do inside of competition. I believe there should be a permanent, non-reversible ban from any kind of competition for people who do that, for match fixing, for that kind of an organization. It destroys the integrity of the game itself. It destroys the integrity of the organizations doing it. So I highly disagree with the decision by ESL to overturn these bans. And you have to ask, why was there a decision made to overturn these bans? It happens right after a PGL Major. They specifically mention the IBuyPower guys, which is the one that's going to grab the most headlines and get the most clicks, drive the most traffic, instead of talking about a lot of the other people who are going to be unbanned because of this, most likely the Epsilon guys and some of the, there's a bunch of people who are involved in match fixing during that period of time. And think about it, after these bans went down, we haven't really heard about match fixing at this level or the level right below it or anything like that. So the bans actually worked in staving off this kind of stuff. We haven't seen a lot of it, but why? It has to be some kind of a PR thing or some kind of internal politics or something like that. And I would ask everybody who supports the unbans to think of it from a different perspective and just kind of look internally and think critically about it. Are you supporting the unbans because you like the people who are being unbanned? I ask you to just ask that question to yourself. Is it just because of the personalities that you want to be unbanned because you want to see more of them? Or is it because you care about the integrity of the game? Please look deep inside of yourself and answer that question. Thank you folks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I am TheWarOwl and I still have no closer.
This big